Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine for a moment that your body isn't just a complex collection of chemical reactions, a bag of biochemicals floating around, but a living, breathing, incredibly sophisticated electrical circuit.
Hmm.
What if healing wasn't always about introducing new substances like a pill or an injection, but about tuning into and maybe even speaking the body's own secret electrical language?
That's a powerful idea.
Today, we're embarking on a truly fascinating deep dive into a rapidly evolving area of medicine that's exploring exactly that. How subtle, often invisible forces like electricity and magnetism can profoundly impact our health, and specifically our recovery from a whole range of conditions, from debilitating brain injuries to chronic pain, even complex neurodegenerative disorders.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is that we're talking about re-engaging with what you might call biology's original operating system. It's fundamental. The sources we've explored for this deep dive span a pretty broad spectrum. On one hand, you've got very recent cutting-edge academic research on neurological disorders. The kind of peer-reviewed studies you'd find on PubMed, complete with specific citations, real lab work.
Right, the hard science.
Exactly. And then on the other hand, you have the bold claims and innovative, almost futuristic approach of a company like Electrome. They're actively trying to harness these inherent bioelectric signals for what they term next-generation therapies.
Okay.
So our mission today is really to meticulously extract the most important insights from all this material, connect the dots between, say, the lab bench and potential clinical realities, and help you understand how this emerging field isn't just adding to our medical toolkit, but might actually be fundamentally reshaping our very understanding of healing and biological control.
That's right. This deep dive is tailor-made for you. Whether you're maybe a healthcare professional curious about the absolute cutting edge of new medical frontiers, or perhaps someone personally looking for alternative or complementary perspectives on chronic conditions you might be facing, or really just anyone who loves a good aha moment that genuinely changes how you see the world around you. We're going to explore how we can potentially program biology directly with these signals, almost like writing software for a computer,
That's a good analogy.
and what that profound implication really means for the future of treatment, diagnosis, maybe even prevention. It's a journey into a domain that, honestly, until pretty recently, felt like pure science fiction.
It really did.
So let's begin right at the foundation of this entire field, the concept of bioelectricity. It's this, well, radical yet utterly fundamental idea that every single cell in our body, from the neurons firing in your brain to the skin cells on your fingertip, communicates, operates, and makes decisions using electrical signals.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
When most of us think about medicine, our minds immediately jump to drugs, chemicals, molecules, the intricate dance of biochemical pathways.
That's the standard model, right?
Exactly. But what our sources consistently highlight, and what's been surprisingly overlooked in much of modern medicine, is that this electrical layer isn't just present. It's absolutely foundational. It's like the silent conductor orchestrating all those chemical reactions we focus on.
Precisely. And this brings us to this pivotal concept of the electrum. It's far more than just a convenient buzzword. You should think of it as nature's original, most fundamental information system.
Okay.
It's the bioelectric code that directs a staggering array of fundamental processes throughout our bodies, often even before the chemical cascades we're more familiar with kick in. And this isn't just theoretical. It's an observable, measurable biological reality.
Right. So, what are some examples?
Okay, well, think about neurons. Our sources explain that every neuron, the very building blocks of our thoughts and senses, fires by precisely changing the voltage across its membrane. That electrical impulse is how thoughts are formed, how movements are transmitted, how sensations are perceived. It's pure electricity.
Okay, neurons make sense. They're famously electrical.
Right, but it extends far beyond the nervous system. Consider something as seemingly, well, mechanical as wound healing. It's not just a random pileup of cells filling a gap. It's a highly organized process guided by endogenous, meaning internal electric fields.
Internal electric fields.
Yeah, tiny electrical gradients that literally direct cell migration and tissue regeneration. They act almost like an electrical blueprint for repair.
Wow.
And it delves even deeper. Processes like gene expression, whether a specific gene is turned on or off, and the incredible complex nuanced behavior of immune cells.
Yeah.
These are directly modulated by the dynamics of ion channels.
Ion channels, those are the little gates on cells, right?
Yes, exactly. Tiny, exquisitely sensitive protein gates on cell membranes that control the flow of electrically charged ions, like sodium, potassium, calcium. By controlling that flow, they regulate the cell's electrical state, its excitability, its readiness to act.
Hmm.
So if you step back and look at the bigger picture, while traditional pharmacology primarily targets biochemical pathways aiming to influence chemical reactions after they've been initiated, bioelectric medicine is aiming at the electrical instructions themselves.
Ah, going upstream.
Exactly. These are the instructions that precede and often govern those chemical reactions. And this raises a truly profound question for us to consider, one that's really at the heart of this entire deep dive. What if we could actually program biology directly with these signals, influencing its very operating system, rather than just, trying to manage the downstream chemical effects?
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, because that idea isn't just a metaphor anymore or something from a futuristic movie. It's what our sources are actually calling the signal is the drug concept. Imagine for a moment a therapy that is software-defined, meaning it's delivered with incredible precision, much like a specific dose of medication, but without any chemicals actually entering your body or being metabolized.
Hmm.
This sounds almost like science fiction, something out of I don't know, a high-tech lab, but it's the core proposition of this new modality. What does that truly imply for how we might treat conditions moving forward? What kind of radical shift are we talking about here?
Well, it implies a monumental, almost paradigm-shifting change in how we even conceive of medical intervention. Signal is the drug, means that electromagnetic signals can be precisely encoded with specific therapeutic intent.
Encoded how? Like with frequency and...
Exactly. Frequency, waveform, amplitude, the duration of the pulse, how often it's repeated, the sequence,
Mhm.
all these parameters become the dose. They can then be dosed, delivered, and regulated in a manner very analogous to how molecular drugs are administered. Think about it. A specific frequency profile could be as targeted and therapeutically potent as a specific milligram dose of a chemical compound.
Wow.
The potential advantages here are truly profound, and they go far beyond just avoiding a pill. Because nothing is entering the bloodstream or being metabolized by the liver or kidneys, you could potentially have zero systemic side effects.
That alone is
It's
huge.
huge. It drastically reduces or even eliminates the toxicity risks associated with many pharmaceuticals. Plus, it bypasses the complex manufacturing processes, the often difficult cold chain requirements for storage and transport, the shelf life limitations you see with traditional drugs.
Right? Logistical nightmares sometimes.
Totally. Imagine a future where therapy for a complex neurological disorder isn't a daily pill with a list of side effects, but maybe a short, targeted session of carefully designed electromagnetic pulses, delivered perhaps through a simple wearable device.
Hmm.
This approach, by directly targeting the body's fundamental electrical operating system, could potentially impact a whole array of previously untreatable conditions. It offers an entirely novel pathway for healing, regeneration, disease management, things that have historically been inaccessible to purely molecular medicine.
So it's really about designing therapy at that foundational level of cellular communication.
Precisely, speaking the body's own electrical language.
That sets the stage beautifully, really grounds us in the profound possibilities of this electrome idea. Now, let's transition to the tangible. The specific technologies that allow us to actually interact with this electrome, the real-world tools that translate these abstract electrical concepts into measurable therapeutic interventions.
All right, the how.
Exactly. We're going to focus on three key modalities that our sources highlight as really leading the charge here. Pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, commonly known as PEMF, electrical stimulation, often just called ES, and transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS.
Yeah, those are the big three right now.
These seem to be the workhorses of bioelectric medicine today.
Broadly speaking, each of these methods works by introducing external electromagnetic energy to carefully modulate the body's internal electrical landscape. There's significant power, and honestly, a major part of their appeal lies in their non-invasive nature.
Right, no cutting, no needles necessarily.
Exactly. Offering ways to influence deeply rooted biological processes without surgery, or the systemic effects that can come with traditional drugs. They represent different ways of speaking to the body's electrical circuits. Let's break each one down, look at how they work and where they're being applied.
Okay, let's start with TMS. It's probably the most widely known of these non-invasive brain stimulation techniques, and for good reason. You might have even heard about it, maybe discussed in the news or referenced somewhere.
Yeah, it gets a fair bit of attention.
But what exactly is it at a fundamental level, and what are its current, most compelling applications in clinical practice today?
TMS is truly fascinating because it uses rapidly changing magnetic fields. These are generated by a special coil that's simply placed on the scalp, totally outside the body.
Okay.
Crucially, these magnetic fields pass harmlessly and painlessly right through the skull. Bone doesn't stop them. Once inside the brain tissue, these magnetic fields then induce very precise, localized electrical currents in specific regions of the brain.
Ah, okay. So the magnet itself isn't delivering the electricity directly.
Correct. Unlike direct electrical stimulation, where electrodes apply current directly, here it's the magnetic field that acts as the messenger. And then the brain tissue itself converts that magnetic energy into the desired electrical activity.
Clever.
It is. This allows for remarkably targeted stimulation of neural circuits without any physical invasion.
Right. So where is it being used most effectively?
Well, the applications and findings for TMS are quite diverse and compelling, and they're backed by a growing body of solid research. For example, in the realm of depression, TMS has an established and increasingly vital role, particularly in treating major depressive disorder, MDD, and even what we call treatment-resistant depression, TRD, where patients haven't responded adequately to other therapies like medication or psychotherapy.
That's a really tough group to treat.
Absolutely. And studies are consistently showing its efficacy. For instance, research we looked at indicates its effectiveness in reducing core depressive symptoms. What's more, it can even improve associated cognitive biases, like attentional bias, that tendency for depressed individuals to focus on negative things.
Yeah.
TMS seems to help shift that.
Interesting. It affects thinking patterns, too.
It seems so. Other research also highlights its positive impact on memory concerns, which are frequently associated with that profound cognitive fog you see in treatment-resistant depression. Our sources also point to explorations in bipolar depression and its utility for depression following a traumatic brain injury.
Okay.
Beyond just symptom reduction, there's even evidence that repetitive TMS or RTMS can modulate crucial brain-derived neurotrophic factor levels, BDNF.
Ah, brain fertilizer, basically.
Kind of, yeah. BDNF is absolutely vital for neuronal health, growth, and plasticity. So TMS might actually be helping the brain heal itself on that level. And in a more surprising finding, some research explored how TMS might modulate sleep patterns, which are often severely disturbed in major depression, further impacting quality of life.
Okay, so depression is a big one. What else?
Moving to Alzheimer's disease, AD, and mild cognitive impairment, MCI, RTMS shows significant and really exciting promise in improving cognitive function and memory.
Critically needed there.
Absolutely, given the lack of effective treatments. Research published recently, for instance, highlights its ability to improve executive functioning. Things like planning, problem-solving, attention in patients with MCI, which is often a precursor to full-blown AD. Another study reported that RTMS can enhance hippocampal and acetyl-aspartate levels. That's a marker of neuronal integrity, basically how healthy the neurons are, and improve visual memory scores in AD patients.
So measurable biological changes alongside functional improvements.
Exactly. Other studies corroborate its potential for overall cognitive and memory improvement in these challenging populations. There's also crucial ongoing investigation into its role in regulating brain network connectivity in preclinical AD, trying to intervene before significant damage occurs.
Proactive, yeah.
And importantly, TMS has been shown to increase cerebral blood flow. That's a vital supply line for the brain that is often impaired in AD. Several studies report this finding. This suggests it can directly support brain health, not just stimulate activity.
Makes sense. Better blood flow, better function.
Precisely. Then, in the challenging context of stroke, TMS contributes significantly to motor recovery.
Helping people move again.
Yes, and it can address debilitating complications like post-stroke pain and aphasia, that language impairment. For instance, research emphasizes this role in promoting neuroplasticity, that brain rewiring we talked about, which is crucial for regaining function in upper limb weakness or hemiparesis.
So it helps the brain relearn control.
That's the idea. Other studies detailed how TMS can aid in language recovery in patients with aphasia, helping them regain their ability to communicate. And separate work showed it can effectively alleviate persistent post-stroke pain, which is a common and often really difficult consequence.
Often overlooked, too.
Very much so.
Well,
Beyond specific deficits, research indicated that it can improve overall motor function and enhance daily living activities, significantly improving quality of life for stroke survivors. Multiple studies have also explored its benefits for post-stroke cognitive impairment, helping survivors recover mental sharpness. Its role in improving swallowing function, or dysphagia, a common and dangerous stroke complication that can lead to pneumonia, has also been investigated.
Wow, really broad applications after stroke.
It's proving very versatile there. And for traumatic brain injury, TBI, and concussion, TMS is emerging as a critical therapeutic tool. It seems helpful in ameliorating the often persistent clinical sequelae, the after effects. These include not just cognitive difficulties like memory and attention problems, but also distressing neurobehavioral symptoms like irritability, anxiety, and sleep disturbances.
Things that can linger for years.
Exactly. Research supports this. Specifically, a form of RTMS called low-field magnetic stimulation has been shown, in animal models at least, to restore cognitive and motor functions after repeated TBI, directly impacting memory and neurobehavioral dysfunctions. There's also really groundbreaking work on individualized, connectome-targeted TMS, basically using brain scans to personalize the TMS target for neuropsychiatric issues in patients, including those with long-term TBI, like retired athletes.
Highly personalized treatment.
That's the direction it's heading. Finally, TMS is under active and promising investigation for several other neurological conditions, further showcasing its versatility. Some work found impaired cortical inhibition in children with ADHD, a fundamental brain circuit issue that TMS could potentially modulate.
Interesting.
Other research explored its use for insomnia disorder, showing it can modulate fear memory extinction, which often plays a role in sleep disturbances. Its potential therapeutic role in conditions like PTSD is also actively being researched, though optimizing the stimulation sites and parameters is still crucial for getting the best results in these complex conditions.
Right. Still refining the approach.
Always. And it's even been compared to things like regenerative injection therapy for fibromyalgia treatment, indicating its reach into chronic pain conditions as well.
So a really wide range of brain-related conditions.
Absolutely. The breadth is quite remarkable.
Okay, so beyond magnetic fields inducing currents, there's also direct electrical stimulation, ES. As the name suggests, this involves applying electrical currents more directly to the body. How does that work, and where is it making a significant difference right now?
Yeah, electrical stimulation involves the direct application of electrical currents to modulate brain or nerve activity. Unlike TMS, where the current is induced indirectly by those magnetic fields, here we're talking about a more direct application. This is often done via electrodes placed on the skin. You might have heard of 10NS units, transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation.
Yeah, for pain relief, often.
Right. Or, in more advanced, sometimes invasive procedures, electrodes might be placed directly near specific nerves or even certain brain regions. The key is that we're directly introducing electrical energy to influence the body's own electrical signals.
Got it. So where is this being applied?
Well, in stroke rehabilitation, ES plays a profoundly significant role in accelerating motor recovery. It's quite established there. For example, cutting-edge brain-computer interfaces, BCIs, when coupled with functional electrical stimulation, FES, have been shown to elicit significant clinical arm motor recovery.
Wait, brain-computer interfaces, like thinking and making the machine stimulate the muscle.
Essentially, yes. A remarkable study showed this direct link between a patient's thoughts, picked up by the BCI, triggering the FES to help move the limb, leading to real recovery.
That's incredible. Truly futuristic stuff happening now.
It really is. Other compelling research confirms that FES can promote that associative plasticity, that crucial brain rewiring and restore function after stroke. It's also being incorporated into more advanced rehab strategies like robot-assisted gait training, helping patients relearn to walk.
Integrating technologies.
Exactly. And it's combined with things like mirror therapy, a visual feedback technique for improved motor function, balance, and gait, showing how multiple approaches can amplify each other.
Makes sense. What about other areas? Depression.
For depression, specifically the often overlooked post-stroke depression, a study in rats showed something quite intriguing. Cerebellar fastigial nucleus, electrical stimulation, stimulating a specific part of the cerebellum actually alleviated depressive-like behaviors.
Is cerebellum, not the usual target for depression.
Right. This highlights its potential to influence mood beyond just direct cortical stimulation, suggesting maybe a deeper, more systemic impact on brain circuitry related to emotion regulation. There's also other research exploring how chronic electrical stimulation of brain reward areas can induce powerful antidepressant effects, offering a different pathway for mood regulation.
Interesting. And you mentioned pain earlier.
Yes, the challenging domain of neuropathic pain, that nerve damage pain, which is often notoriously difficult to treat. Our sources mention the development of specific ES signals. These signals are designed to do two things: stabilize the nerve membrane potential, kind of calming down the erratic firing,
Okay.
and crucially, increase the expression of endogenous opioid peptides.
the body's own painkillers.
Exactly. This offers profound potential applications in conditions like diabetic neuropathy, which causes excruciating nerve pain, and complex regional pain syndromes, CRPS, which are characterized by severe, disabling chronic pain.
A non-drug way to boost natural pain relief.
That's the goal. An emerging and incredibly promising area for ES is also in anti-infective therapies.
Fighting infections with electricity. How?
It sounds wild, right? But this involves exploring frequency-specific microbial interference. The idea is to use specific electrical frequencies to reduce the virulence or harmfulness or even the survivability of antibiotic-resistant bacteria and maybe even viral pathogens.
Wow. How would that work?
The thinking is it could literally disrupt their internal electrical signaling, potentially affecting vital processes like porn pathways channels they use for nutrients or efflux pumps that bacteria use to spit out antibiotics.
Jamming their defense mechanisms.
Possibly. Or maybe disrupting the formation of biofilms, those protective slimy layers that make bacteria so resistant to drugs. This could, theoretically, revolutionize how we fight superbugs.
That would be a game changer.
Absolutely. Lastly, in other significant applications, vagus nerve stimulation VNS is a well-established form of ES, often delivered via an implantable device or sometimes non-invasively. VNS has been shown to modulate hippocampal inflammation.
The hippocampus, key for memory. Inflammation there is bad news.
Very bad news. Implicated in many neurological conditions. Studies show VNS can reduce that inflammation. Its effects on inflammatory markers in the brainstem have also been detailed. This points to its broader systemic impact on the immune system and the body's overall inflammatory response.
So it's not just about nerves, it's about calming down inflammation body-wide.
It seems to have that capability, suggesting it's influencing the body's overall inflammatory state, which underlies so many chronic diseases.
Okay, and then we have the third one, PEMF therapy, pulsed electromagnetic field. How does this fit into the broader picture of bioelectric medicine, and what specific conditions is it being developed and researched to treat?
Right, PEMF therapy is quite versatile. It delivers programmable electromagnetic fields, not direct current like ES, not induced current like TMS, but pulsed fields across a wide range of biological samples. This could be cells in a petri dish, entire organs, or even the whole body.
Okay.
These fields are specifically designed to interact with the body's natural electrical control systems. Unlike TMS, which often targets highly specific brain regions for neurological conditions, PEMF can be applied more broadly. Its effects are driven by those precise signal parameters we talked about: frequency, waveform, amplitude, duration, allowing for a highly customized therapeutic approach.
So less geographically targeted, more about the signal recipe.
That's a good way to put it. And our sources indicate that PEMF is particularly tuned to address pain and inflammation, two massive issues in healthcare. It works at a fundamental level by reducing pro-inflammatory mediators, things like IL-6 and TNF-alpha, which are key drivers of the inflammatory cascade that causes pain and tissue damage.
Turning down the inflammation signals.
Exactly. And simultaneously, it actively accelerates tissue repair. So it's doing both, calming the fire and helping rebuild. This makes it relevant for a wide range of inflammatory conditions, from arthritis to injuries.
Dual action. Nice.
Yeah. For neuropathic pain and peripheral nerve repair, which we touched on with ES, specific PEMF signals are also designed to directly stimulate nerve repair and regeneration. Again, offering a non-pharmacological approach to alleviating nerve-related pain and addressing nerve injury, which is a huge potential breakthrough for conditions where traditional meds often fall short or have nasty side effects.
Right. What about neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's?
Yes. In the ongoing battle against Alzheimer's disease, PEMFs have shown remarkable potential in preclinical studies. Research demonstrates that PEMF can restore mitochondrial function. Remember, mitochondria are the powerhouses of our cells, and they often fail in AD.
Okay.
PEMF also seems to restore CR to BDNF signaling in oxidatively stressed cells. These pathways are crucial for learning, memory, and neuronal survival, and they're often impaired in AD.
So it's targeting those core mechanisms of degeneration.
It appears so. Additionally, other work found that low-frequency PEMFs can modulate cortical plasticity even in healthy brains, suggesting a foundational impact on the brain's ability to learn and adapt. This could potentially be leveraged to maintain cognitive health or slow decline.
Interesting. Does it have applications in mental health, like depression?
Yes. For depression, beyond the TMS applications we discussed, low-frequency pulsed magnetic fields have also been shown to improve depression-like behaviors and cognitive impairments. This seems to happen by directly modulating synaptic function, the way brain cells communicate. Research explored this, indicating PEMF's potential as yet another powerful bioelectric tool for mental health, offering a non-invasive drug-free pathway.
Another tool in the toolbox.
Definitely. In the cutting-edge field of oncology, there are experimental PEMF signals being explored. These aim to induce apoptosis that's programmed cell death.
Getting cancer cells to self-destruct.
Exactly, or to inhibit proliferation, their uncontrolled growth, in specific cancer cell lines. These signals are thought to work via fascinating mechanisms like membrane depolarization, basically scrambling the electrical balance of the cancer cell, or by directly targeting ion channels that are vital for cancer cell survival and growth.
Very targeted cell-level disruption.
That's the idea. It's still experimental, but very promising. Finally, for chronic wounds and post-surgical recovery, PEMF is being actively developed to accelerate tissue repair. By interacting with the body's innate electrical repair mechanisms, it can help wounds heal faster, potentially reduce scarring, and significantly improve recovery outcomes after surgery.
Practical application.
Very practical. Could lead to shorter hospital stays, better functional results. This really shows how bioelectric medicine can move from complex brain disorders right into everyday healing.
Okay, so we've covered what these different bioelectric modalities are, TMS, ES, PEMF, and where they're being applied across a truly diverse range of conditions. But the real magic, right, the core of this deep dive, the how, is what's happening down at the cellular and molecular level.
Yes, the mechanism.
How do these invisible signals actually do all this? Let's really try to get into the nitty-gritty of the science here, because this is where the profound implications for medicine truly become clear.
Absolutely. If we connect this back to that bigger picture, it's about understanding precisely how these external electromagnetic signals can tap into the cell's fundamental bioelectric properties, how they influence processes that are absolutely core to health, disease progression, and recovery. It really is akin to programming biology at its most fundamental level.
Okay, so what's the first big mechanism?
One of the most critical mechanisms at play, especially in the brain applications, is neuroplasticity. This is arguably the brain's most incredible superpower. Its ability to reorganize itself, to form new neural connections, and to adapt throughout life. It's how we learn, how we recover from injury, how our brains change.
Right, the brain's ability to rewire itself.
Exactly. And various stimulation techniques, including both TMS and electrical stimulation, are now understood to reliably induce changes consistent with what neuroscientists call long-term potentiation, or LTP-like effects.
LTP strengthening connections.
Precisely. Persistent strengthening of synaptic connections, making them more efficient at communicating. They can also induce the opposite, long-term depression, or LTD-like effects, which involve the weakening of connections. Specific studies have rigorously detailed these effects.
So you can strengthen helpful pathways and maybe weaken unhelpful ones.
That's the therapeutic goal, yes. And the clinical relevance of this is immense. It's why this field is so exciting. We see direct and powerful connections between modulating neuroplasticity and achieving functional recovery in conditions like stroke, TBI, and depression.
Yeah.
In these disorders, impaired or maladaptive plasticity, sort of faulty wiring, is often a significant underlying factor, essentially trapping the brain in unhelpful patterns. Research highlights how impaired brain plasticity underlies both cognitive decline and major depression, making it a key target. Other work discusses how targeted neuromodulation can actively promote neuroplasticity and accelerate recovery after stroke. And these fundamental mechanisms seem to work across the lifespan, even in children. It's even been observed that simply sleeping during RTMS can significantly strengthen neuroplasticity, leading to better stroke recovery.
Wow, sleep helps lock in the changes.
It appears so. This means we're not just treating symptoms, we're fundamentally helping the brain repair and retrain itself. Neuroplasticity is central to modern rehab, often combined with intensive therapy or even exercise.
Okay, neuroplasticity is key. What else?
Another absolutely crucial mechanism is cerebral blood flow, CBF modulation. Healthy, robust blood flow is the brain's lifeblood, right? Vital for optimal function, cognitive performance, and recovery after injury. It delivers oxygen, glucose, nutrients, and removes waste.
Absolutely essential.
Our sources consistently reveal that electrical stimulation, and also TMS, can significantly increase mean cerebral blood flow velocity, essentially opening up those vital supply lines to the brain. This has been directly measured.
So literally boosting blood flow.
Yes. Furthermore, studies show that a measurable increase in frontal cerebral blood volume during TMS for depression is directly related to how well the treatment works. It's a concrete physiological marker of success.
That's compelling evidence.
It is. Even more excitingly, recent research showed that both low and high-frequency RTMS can increase real-time cerebral blood flow in animal models and, crucially, improve neurobehavioral outcomes after stroke. This indicates a direct role in supporting post-stroke recovery.
And in Alzheimer's.
Yes, in Alzheimer's research, where reduced blood flow is a known problem, certain types of electrical stimulation have been shown to increase cerebral blood flow in mouse models. This demonstrates a direct physiological impact that actively supports neural health and could potentially slow neurodegeneration.
Okay, plasticity and blood flow. What about at the cell membrane level?
All right, delving deeper into the cellular realm, we come to ion channel gating. As we mentioned, ion channels are the cell's molecular switches, or gates, on the cell membrane. They control the flow of charged ions like calcium, potassium, sodium, regulating the cell's electrical potential and activation.
The little gates.
Exactly. A particular focus in PEMF research is on a family called TRP channels, transient receptor potential channels like TRPV1, TRPV4, and TRPA1. Think of them as tiny, exquisitely sensitive sensors. TRPV1, for instance, is often called the chili pepper receptor because it's activated by capsaicin.
Makes sense.
But it's also absolutely crucial for sensing pain, temperature, and inflammation. Our sources indicate that PEMF can directly whisper to these gates, modulating their opening and closing.
Influencing the gatekeepers.
Precisely. This is how it might interrupt pain signals and reduce swelling right at the source, offering a targeted, non-chemical alternative to traditional pain meds. It's about influencing the very electrical rhythm of the cell.
Okay. And you mentioned calcium.
Yes. Closely related to ion channels is calcium flux. Calcium is often called the universal second messenger in cell biology. It's involved in a vast array of functions: muscle contraction, neurotransmission, even gene expression.
Calcium does a lot.
It really does. Our sources highlight that low-frequency PEMF consistently increases calcium influx into cells, often via specific voltage-gated and stretch-activated channels. This increased intracellular calcium then triggers the activation of calmodulin, a protein sensor, which kicks off a cascade of downstream effects.
Like what?
These effects include promoting cell proliferation, growth, differentiation, specialization, and migration movement. In practical terms, this means that in vital cells like stem cells and fibroblasts, which are critical for healing, PEMF-induced calcium signaling actually significantly enhances tissue repair and collagen deposition.
Collagen for structure and healing.
Absolutely. It's the main structural protein critical for wound healing, skin integrity, regeneration. So PEMF seems to be directly reprogramming cells for repair via calcium signaling.
That's pretty fundamental. Does it affect genes too?
Yes, absolutely. Beyond these immediate cellular responses, these signals also exert a profound influence on gene expression modulation. What this means is that electromagnetic stimulation can actually alter the genetic programs within cells in a very precise, frequency and dose-dependent manner.
Turning genes on or off with electricity.
Or dialing their activity up or down. Yes, specific bioelectric signals can do this. Our sources provide concrete examples. PEMF can upregulate genes like VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor, which promotes angiogenesis, the formation of new blood vessels, vital for healing.
Or blood supply.
Exactly. It can also upregulate TGF-transforming growth factor beta, crucial for anti-inflammatory remodeling and regulating scar formation. It can increase SOD2 superoxide dismutase 2, boosting the cell's natural antioxidant defense system.
Protection against damage.
Right. And it directly stimulates collagen synthesis genes, vital for robust wound healing. Conversely, it can intelligently downregulate pro-inflammatory genes like IL-6 and TNFi, those key drivers of detrimental inflammation we mentioned.
So it's fine-tuning the genetic response.
Precisely. These specific orchestrated genetic changes have been validated in various cell types and tissue models, demonstrating a deep, almost surgical level of biological control through external signals.
Amazing. And that ties into inflammation directly.
It does. Let's look specifically at anti-inflammatory pathways. It's incredibly important to realize that inflammation itself, the body's protective response, has a significant bioelectric component.
Electricity is involved in inflammation too.
Yes. Voltage gradients and ion channels within immune cells actively regulate their activation state and their ability to release inflammatory chemicals. PEMF, as our sources demonstrate, has been consistently shown to reduce levels of key inflammatory markers, IL-1, IL-6, TNFF. These are the molecules driving pain, swelling, tissue damage.
Calming the chemical storm.
Right. But it goes deeper. PEMF also has a remarkable ability to downregulate NFD signaling. Think of NFA as a master switch that turns on a whole host of pro-inflammatory genes.
So PEMF turns down the master switch.
It seems to help do that. Furthermore, it can modulate macrophage polarization, shifting these key immune cells towards an M2 anti-inflammatory phenotype.
Making the immune cells helpful cleaners instead of angry attackers.
That's a great analogy. M2 macrophages clean up debris and promote healing rather than perpetuating inflammation. And finally, PEMF can inhibit prostaglandin synthesis and COX2 expression, both critical for producing inflammatory mediators that's similar to how some NSAID pain relievers work, but achieved electrically.
Wow. Multiple anti-inflammatory actions.
Exactly. These multifaceted effects have been observed in various models, from arthritis and wound healing to neuroinflammation. It provides a powerful non-pharmacological approach to managing chronic inflammatory conditions.
These deep mechanisms really paint a picture of how powerful this could be.
They absolutely do. They underpin the broad and potentially transformative therapeutic potential of bioelectric medicine.
This is truly a revolutionary concept, isn't it, as we've discussed?
Yeah.
It's not just about understanding these profound cellular mechanisms. It's fundamentally about applying them, translating this intricate knowledge into tangible solutions for patients.
Right, bridging the gap from lab to clinic.
And that's precisely where companies like Electrome, which you mentioned earlier, come into play, taking these groundbreaking ideas from the lab bench, from the theoretical, to potential widespread clinical use. So what does that journey actually look like for an emerging field like this? What are the immense promises, but also, let's be realistic, the inevitable challenges involved in bringing this future of medicine to patients everywhere?
That's a really important and complex question. How do we effectively translate this incredibly sophisticated biological programming into treatments that are not only widely accessible, but also consistently effective? Electrome's approach, as described in our sources, gives us a compelling glimpse into one possible and frankly highly advanced future.
How are they tackling it?
Well, central to their ambitious vision is what they term their AI-powered discovery engine.
AI driving signal discovery.
Exactly. Imagine a cutting-edge, closed-loop system. It seamlessly merges advanced machine learning algorithms, high-speed computational signal modeling, and rigorous wet lab validation testing it on actual cells or tissues. And all this is connected to an expansive, continually growing knowledge graph of biological electrical interactions.
Okay, so AI, simulation, real-world testing, and a giant database all working together.
Precisely. The claim is that this integrated engine dramatically accelerates the process of signal discovery. From what might typically take months, maybe even years in traditional drug discovery, down to mere days.
Wow, that's a huge speed up.
Potentially, yes. Significantly reducing development time and cost compared to traditional pharmaceutical pipelines. This engine is designed to explore a truly vast signal space, millions, maybe billions, of potential combinations of frequency, waveform, amplitude, duration, pulse patterns.
Searching for the magic recipe.
Kind of. Systematically identifying the most promising candidates for specific biological effects. It intelligently uses past experimental data, loads of peer-reviewed studies, sophisticated biophysical models, all to predict how specific signals will affect different cell types and tissues. Then, crucially, it feeds the real-world lab results back into the AI, creating a continuous feedback loop that constantly refines and enhances its predictive accuracy.
Learning and improving over time.
Exactly. They refer to this unparalleled precision as dosing by design. Therapies defined not by milligrams of a chemical, but by exquisitely precise and reproducible signal parameters. The ultimate sort of aspirational vision they mention is autonomous signal design, meaning AI could literally design therapeutic waveforms directly from a specified biological effect. Imagine telling an AI, I need a signal that reduces inflammation in the knee, and it generates the precise electromagnetic pulse sequence needed.
That's quite a leap.
It is, but that's the direction they're aiming for.
Okay, so faster discovery. What about delivering these therapies?
Well, this innovative approach also leads to incredible scalability and versatility, which are critical for widespread adoption. The inherent beauty of signal-based medicine, as Electrome points out, is that one underlying hardware platform, one device, can deliver a multitude of different signals.
Software updates for new treatments.
Sort of, yeah. And theoretically, one foundational device could treat many different conditions. This is largely because the fundamental bioelectric pathways, those electrical instructions we discussed, are often remarkably conserved across different tissues, organ systems, and even diverse disease states.
Similar electrical rules apply in different parts of the body.
Often, yes. For instance, a signal that proves effective in promoting skin wound regeneration might also, maybe with minor tweaks, apply to mucosal repair in the gut, or potentially even organ regeneration down the line. or signals that effectively reduce TNF-alpha in immune cells could benefit a whole spectrum of conditions, from autoimmune disorders like rheumatoid arthritis to neuroinflammatory conditions like MS.
Leveraging knowledge across diseases.
Exactly. Each successful experiment, each new data point, strengthens the collective intelligence of the entire discovery engine. This allows for powerful, generalized learnings across vastly diverse disease areas, creating efficiencies unheard of in traditional drug development.
Okay, that makes sense. What about safety? We touched on fewer side effects.
Right. Another major promise, and perhaps one of the most compelling aspects, is the inherent safety and non-invasiveness of this modality. Our sources consistently reiterate these critical benefits. It's non-chemical, so nothing enters the bloodstream or needs to be metabolized, dramatically reducing systemic side effects.
Great plus.
It's non-thermal. It works via precise bioelectric interactions, not by heating tissue, which prevents damage. And crucially, it's non-invasive. Delivered externally via simple coils, pads, or even wearable devices, eliminating the risks associated with surgery or injections. Depending on the delivery parameters and the signal, it can be localized to a specific area, like a brain region or a joint, or have broader systemic effects. This combination of attributes makes this modality, as Electrome puts it, uniquely suited for patients who cannot tolerate traditional drugs, who require accelerated recovery, or who present with complex comorbidities, multiple health issues making drug regimens tricky.
A potentially safer option for complex patients?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
And for regulatory purposes, this approach often seeks FDA 510(k) clearance in the U.S. This pathway is based on demonstrating substantial equivalence to existing, already cleared medical devices.
Which can be faster than getting a whole new drug approved.
It can significantly streamline the path to market compared to the rigorous, lengthy, and very expensive process for new chemical drugs.
Okay, it sounds incredibly promising, but what are the hurdles, the current challenges? It can't all be smooth sailing.
No, absolutely not. It's crucial to acknowledge the challenges that researchers and companies in this nascent but rapidly growing field are still facing. Even with advanced techniques like TMS, studies openly acknowledge the fragility and variability of the effects.
Meaning it doesn't work the same for everyone, every time.
Exactly. Achieving consistent and robust outcomes across all patients can still be a hurdle. This highlights the clear need to rigorously optimize the protocol parameters, the frequency, intensity, location, ideally for each individual.
Personalization is key.
It seems to be. There are also ongoing challenges in standardizing the optimal stimulation sites and parameters for various conditions. Research is still working to nail down the best recipes. This isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. Precision is absolutely paramount.
Still figuring out the details for each condition.
Right. Defining the precise mechanisms for different conditions, like PTSD, for example, is still an active and intensive area of research. We need more detailed understanding to really optimize treatments. And critically, from a broader public health perspective, there's a strong, undeniable need for universal access to therapies like TMS. As one source points out, over 1 billion people worldwide suffer from psychiatric and/or neurological disorders, where TMS has shown significant efficacy.
1 billion people, that's staggering.
It is. But improving cost-effectiveness and making these therapies more convenient and broadly available remains a significant hurdle to widespread adoption. The technology exists, but getting it to everyone who could benefit is a major challenge.
The access gap.
Exactly. The science is incredibly powerful, but translating it into equitable global access requires sustained innovation, not just in the technology itself, but also in healthcare delivery models, insurance coverage, and infrastructure. Hashtag Hag Outrun.
Wow. What a deep dive. Seriously fascinating stuff. From unraveling the brain's subtle electrical whispers and understanding the body's innate fundamental electrome, to seeing how carefully calibrated magnetic pulses and precise electrical currents can actually spark recovery and profoundly influence these core cellular processes. We've explored a truly groundbreaking field today.
We really have.
It's becoming increasingly clear, I think, that understanding and harnessing this intrinsic bioelectric code could truly be the next big leap in medicine, moving us beyond just relying on chemistry alone.
Indeed. We've seen how remarkably diverse the applications are, from effectively treating complex conditions like depression and Alzheimer's to significantly enhancing stroke recovery, managing chronic pain, and even actively fighting inflammation right at its core. All of these applications consistently point to a future where we might be able to effectively program biology, guiding its innate healing capabilities in ways we couldn't before. The insights gleaned from these myriad studies powerfully underscore the remarkable, often underappreciated, and inherent power of the body's own electrical language. There's always more to learn, of course, especially in a field moving this fast. And embracing multiple perspectives from biochemistry to biophysics will only enrich our understanding going forward.
Absolutely. So let's leave our listeners with this. What does all this mean for you? As science continues its relentless quest to decode this intricate bioelectric language of life, how might our everyday lives be transformed when healing becomes less about what we ingest, less about chemicals, and more about the precise, invisible signals our bodies receive?
Hmm.
What new frontiers in health and recovery, and maybe even in overall well-being, might this emerging electrical medicine unlock for all of us?
Oh,
Not just in the clinic someday, but perhaps even closer to home.
it's truly something profound to consider.